Hello, boys and girls. In today's episode of My Life's a Crapshoot, working on a 2019 Silverado. Owned this truck for going on 3 years, coming up in August, and for 28 months, I never noticed this. See that nice halo around the speedometer? It's lit up. Well, it's supposed to be the same way here. In November, I was leaving the hospital, driving across the bridge in the dark, and noticed that was out. So I decided to tear it apart and try to discover why. And I noticed something. I wasn't sure if that was it. So I've taken it apart several times and finally figured it out that definitely was the problem. And today we're going to get it taken care of. So I'm going to bring you along for the ride. To access that, let's get the thing to shut down. You have to take off this dash cover. It covers the thing there, and then we got to take off this piece of trim. And there's 4 bolts in there. There's 4 bolts that hold the cluster in. So we're going to get after taking that apart. If I knock the camera over, it's my first time using a tripod. Don't be mad. Get the steering wheel all the way down. This just pops out. And there's bolts there. Get our plastic pry tool. Pop this piece of trim off. Sun's shining right in the front window of the truck this morning, so I put the sunshade in to try to keep the light down. There's 4 Torx bolts here. They all have to come out. Won't bore you with all this unscrewing. Okay, got those screws loose. They just hold this on. This front piece of plastic has to come out of here. And there's 4 bolts that hold the cluster. We gotta get these 2 bolts out of this piece of plastic. And then you have to pop this cover loose and this cover over here just a little bit so that you can get this piece out of here. Missed the bolt. There's 1 back here. 3 in there, not 2. Careful popping this loose from the lower part of the dash so you don't break anything. pops out. I found it's easier if you put the parking brake on, put the gear shift down to get this out to access these other 4 bolts. Dinger keeps going off because you want you to keep it in park. Won't bore you with getting these bolts out. Okay, got those bolts out. Now to get the cluster free, you need that shift lever down again. Makes it easier to get it out. It's cantankerous. Once you have that out, you can put it back in park. Turn the vehicle off and open the door to let it power down. Wait till the cluster turns off. Takes time for that to time out, so we'll wait for that. Okay, the cluster turned off. You see the little red tab here. You gotta pull that tab, and then you pull this lever to release that. Take that out. Loose, pull the plug, and the cluster's free. Now we get to move on to the next section of this project. Getting lost in my stuff here. So anyway, cluster's out. Now we have to move on to the next part of the project. Okay, boys and girls, I got delayed because somebody was in the kitchen. Anyway, next step is got to release all these tabs, take this cover off. Carefully trying not to break anything. Like I said, I've had this part a bunch of times before. And ironically enough, I've had this back off too. You release these tabs right here. And there's like, this is a separate board, this is a separate board, this is a separate display, and then this is a separate board if you take the back off. And now that we have this revealed, I can show you what the problem was. If you look, the reason that halo lights up is this is opaque, this is black to the edge. Little backstory on this truck, it's from Canada, that's why it has a 200 mile an hour speedometer. If it comes from the US of A, I think it goes up to like 140. I can't remember. But anyway, we need to remember our needle placement. So I'm going to try using a piece of tape here to mark that, and a Sharpie. But the tape has to be able to come off. So I can get this cover off. So we'll put a little mark here where the needle is. Pull that piece of tape back. And you have to be careful on this part. Just a little bit of pressure. Gotta pry it straight up. Set that aside. That brings me to this part. Just got this yesterday. I have to give a shout out to Jack Dempsey and his crew at Blue Water Importers. Whenever these instrument clusters are changed out, they have to swap these backing plates and reprogram them. Well, when they swapped it, it didn't have the opaque like it's supposed to. They didn't notice it, and I'll have to shout out to them because what a great bunch of people. I called them out of the blue. They didn't know me at all, and what a great guy. He talked to me, listened to my story because I had some other issues with the truck, so they were able to give me some background on it and fill me in a little bit on some things I didn't know. And talking to him and telling him what was going on with my cluster and the fact that in the dark it was bothering me because that's supposed to be lit up and it wasn't lit up. And in the conversation with him, he said, well, I'll just take care of that for you. I will send it out. Now when you put this back on, you have to be careful. You have to make sure that that is twisted the whole way to the left and that it is seating where it's supposed to be. So that your tack isn't off. That looks lined up. So I can take this piece of tape off. And you can see that's black the whole way through for whatever reason. And now, hopefully, that takes care of the problem. So, just gotta snap this cover back on. And then we can get back out to the truck and finish this video. Okay, we're back in the truck. Just have to reverse the process. Plug the cluster back in. Make sure that clip's in place. Put the red clip back in. I think to get it back down in there, gotta push and hold the start button without putting your foot on the brake so that you can then put it in gear. to get the cluster to drop back down in there and clear everything. And we can already see success, that the halo is lit up. And that was the whole goal. So we have to put bolts back in. Put everything back together. And we should be ready to go. So I won't bore you with bolts. I got those 4 bolts back in. Now we can snap this outer cover back into place to get it behind those pieces of trim. Get it lined up. Just give it a little love tap here at the bottom to snap it back in place. And more bolts to put back in. Once that's in place, you can seat all this other stuff back into place. We'll tell you to be very careful with the bolts, because you drop them down in the dash, that's no man's land, and good luck finding them. I can tell you, in one of my last adventures I did do that. Fortunately was able to retrieve it, but it's like Plinko when it gets down in there. It's very hard to tell where they go. These 3 bolts in. Okay, pause the camera again. Don't need to bore you with running screws. Okay, we're back again. Got all the screws in. Just time to snap this plastic cover back in. If you've never had any of these kind of things apart, they just have the metal clips. Spring in and snap in, hold everything together. Same with the cover for the top of the dash. If you ever want to do a deep clean, you can take care of that. Put everything back in position where it was. And as you can see, both halos are now lit up the way it's supposed to be. Let's start this, make sure everything's working right. All the idiot lights are in the right place. Tach's reading correctly. A little out of focus there, but anyway. All right, folks, that to me is a successful completed job. Thank you for watching. Once again, a shout out to the people at Blue Water Importers. It was a pleasant surprise to have a company that didn't know me at all and be able to talk to somebody and have them treat you the way they did when you weren't really their customer. And yeah, it's just very refreshing, and it's great when you have a company treat you the way that they treated me, and I can't say that enough. We need more of that in the world today. So it's amazing the way the Lord works. He makes things happen. All you have to do is have faith and believe. Well, that should do it for this one. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.